Welcome the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the state senator. There's a lot of history of New York and Steinway intertwined. Queens was founded as a Steinway factory town back 170 years ago. Our company's been around for 169 years manufacturing pianos in New York, and we're so proud to manufacture the very best pianos in the world in the best city in the world. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to the mayor for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And as you move around and communicate and talk with the employees, when Jessica came in, Senator Ramos came in, she shared with me that, these are good union jobs, right here in the district. And it's a symbol of this great place called Steinway, where the music continues to play in spite of COVID. These employees are here, they're working, they're continuing to push through the crises that we are facing and just really show the resiliency of who we are as New Yorkers. And I'm just proud to be here, in the borough of my birth, of my childhood, I should say, born in Brooklyn, but raised here in Queens. I'm at Bayside High School, and this factory really is a symbol of our strength. Steinway Piano Factory has been here for 150 years, a legendary industry here in New York City. And COVID can't stop it. When you speak with these everyday men and women, some here for 35, 40 years, and hearing the stories of coming to New York and having this good union job to raise their families. I was speaking with one gentleman, he talked about proudly how his daughter went through college and graduated from college with this good job. He said, I will never be a millionaire, but I'll be able to take care of my family. And everyone knows that the music always continues to play for New Yorkers. We continue to push forward, and we continue to movement in the right direction. We are resilient, and you can't stop our city. Don't bet against New York City. And we're showing people all over the nation we're getting back to business. We're keeping people safe and healthy, and that includes mental health. The deputy mayor talks about it all the time, how imperative it is for us to understand that it's not only physical health that we are talking about, but it's also mental health. New York City has been through a lot. Every day I think about those early days of being down at the hospital, watching the morgues, watching family members drop off loved ones to the hospitals, never to see them again, never to be able to communicate with them. The mass graves that we were dealing with until we were able to come up with a real dignified way of holding the bodies so our family members can find the resources to bury them. We've lost people, we lost loved ones, we're filled with grief sometimes, uncertainty, and pain. We were called on turning pain into purpose to push through this COVID crisis. What New Yorkers want to be sure of and what we want to tell them, you're not alone. We're in this together, and the support is here, and this city is going to be here for you. We have good people at the Department of Health, and they're giving us some very clear advice and very meaningful advice. It's not that complicated. Simply stay connected with family, friends, and employees who are with you and among you to make sure you can identify when one is experiencing trauma and be there for them. We must be supportive of others when they talk about mental health, particularly in communities of color. That has been a stigma for so many years, and one would not discuss mental health issues. And I'm happy to see how we are more comfortable with talking about the mental health crises that people are facing. And then, I talk about it all the time, let's eat healthy. Food has a major impact on building our immune system and how do we feel, and we're going to continue to talk about that. We should be consuming a lot of fruits and vegetables, protein and whole grains. That is very important during this period of time. And stay physically active. You don't need a gym membership. right downstairs from City Hall. I was so happy to move my stationary bike, my weights, my pull-up, my dip bar. I was able to bring all of that over to City Hall. And, you know, you're all welcome to come in and do a workout with me if you like. But right in the building. We're going to do one together. You know, but it's about being creative. Take the stairs. Get off the train one stop before your stop and walk the distance to the next. Being physically active is not just a gym membership. It's just the movement that's needed. And remember, we have real infrastructure to support you. You can reach out if needed. If you need me for additional support, you could contact our New York City Well. The free mental health helpline is there for you to use it. It's available in 200 languages, 24 hours, 7 days a week, because we know a crisis moment is not a 9 to 5. It happens, and it can happen anytime. And the number is 888 NYC Well, or you can text WELL to 65173. My administration is clear on getting stuff done. You know, we must get stuff done. Bureaucracy has gotten in the way far too often, and we want to ensure that it does not continue to do so. But not just getting stuff done, but we also want to make sure that we open our workplaces. It's time to get back to work. It's time to open the city. We cannot run a city as complex as New York remotely. I will say this over and over again. We want to encourage our businesses to open in a safe way, and one of the best ways to do it is to get vaccinated and booster shots. That's imperative. And it's about looking out for each other, and it's about how do we get back to our lives, the lives that we all know that we deserve in a very real way, back to living in this city so that we can continue to thrive and make sure our city moves forward. So I want to bring on my amazing Deputy Mayor, who I am just so proud of what she's doing to continue to expand how we deal with health in this city and human services in a very compassionate way. Deputy Mayor Ann Williams Isom.
Good morning. I said I felt like I was in Adventureland when I came in here today because I've played the piano when I was little. I grew up not in Queens. I don't know if you know, Mayor, our first deputy mayor, Lorraine Gorillo, said she grew up 4 blocks from here. So we have a lot of Queens in our administration. I found out that 75% of the workers here are immigrants. It reminded me of the fact that my mom was an immigrant and that we didn't have much, but she went out and she got a used Steinway so that my brothers and I would be exposed to music. So as I come here today, I'm so grateful and so thankful of the things that sometimes we don't notice that are going on behind the scenes that really makes New York the beautiful mosaic that it is and how important it is for us to be at this moment. I start this job at a very difficult time. We are still in the midst of COVID, but we know that there's so much that we can do to make sure that we get through this together. We know that there are steps that we can take for ourselves, and as the mayor said, the wellness part of it is just as important as the physical part of it. So recently, my 2 older children went back to work, and my husband and I were very nervous about them going back to work. Like all New Yorkers, it's scary. What's going to happen? Am I going to get sick? Am I going to have enough ventilation? Am I going to, how was that experience going to be for me? So this is what we told our children, and this is what we are telling all New Yorkers now. It's going to be difficult, but there are ways for us to stay safe and healthy. You have to get vaccinated. It's the best thing that we can do to keep ourselves safe. And with this Omicron, getting boosted is even more important. And now even 12-year-olds are eligible to get boosted. So parents, I know it's difficult and times are hard, but we all want to do the best for our children, and the best thing to do is to make sure they are vaccinated and boosted. If you're not feeling well, stay home. I know we're used to being New Yorkers and we fight through everything, but if you're not feeling well, if you have a fever, if you have a running nose, the best thing for you to do is to stay home. Third, get tested. And we are so proud that we've been able to really increase the testing that's been around the city so that people don't have to wait on long lines and we're able to get tested. You want to know what your status is so that you can make sure that you and the people around you are safe. Next, we're talking about masks all the time. We really think that the cloth face coverings are okay, but not as safe as a K95 or as an N95. So get a high-quality mask and make sure that you're wearing it all the time. Avoid crowds and continue to limit gatherings. We are almost through we see the horizon and we see the other side, but right now we want to be careful, and so we still want to be conscious of where we are. COVID isn't through with us yet, but we know that we're getting closer to being on the other side of this. I just want to thank New York City for being an example to the country of what we can do when we do it together. And yes, it is difficult, but we will get through this together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. An amazing state senator in the area who continues to push forward around health, around environmental issues, and around protecting jobs for our union employees. So we want to bring on Senator Jessica Ramos. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning to everybody. It's so good to see everyone here. Scene in 13, where we have some of the greatest union jobs in our district. I've always been so proud to be a daughter of Astoria. This is where I grew up, after all. And I have the honor of representing this district in the state Senate. And it's also as a mother that I've been so concerned about how the pandemic has been proceeding over the past few weeks. You know, Mr. Mayor, just last week, a child in my youngest son's class tested positive for coronavirus, and he was sent home with tests to take, obviously having to provide a negative result the following day, 5 days later. But I quickly learned from other neighbors that that was not true for those who are in kindergarten or pre-K or 3K. And so, you know, we've been working with the mayor and his administration to figure out how it is that we can bring that policy to the younger grades sooner. And making sure that we are making testing much more available for our younger folks who can't get boosted yet, and making parents understand how critical it is that we get our younger population vaccinated as well. So I'm very happy to be here this morning to call attention to, yes, the importance of our economy, but I don't believe that we should put profit over people. And we should be keeping people safe and making sure that we are utilizing all of the resources we can to allow them to get tested, to get vaccinated, to get boosted, so that when we do come back in full rigor, we're able to do so without putting any of our neighbors at risk. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being in the district today, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much. We're going to open to questions, but I do want to highlight it's almost impossible to have the conference without talking about COVID. And on my briefing this morning with our health professionals, it really appears that the numbers in our hospitals are stabilizing. So we're looking forward to just continue to stabilize and hopefully see a decline. But the goal is to continue to do the great things that New Yorkers are doing. And I cannot overemphasize what the Deputy Mayor stated. It's about vaccinations and booster shots. And, the news seems promising if we continue to do what we're doing. Now, Eric did not say we peaked and we declined. So I don't need that to be the headline. I say it's stabilizing. And based on our optimistic views, we appear to be moving in the right direction.
Hi, two questions. The first, there is a story that we at NBC4 put out today about your security detail, that Tim Pearson wanted to replace security at City Hall with civilian members. Is that true? Did you know anything about that? And then secondly, can you comment on the arrest of a person in the Burger King shooting? I know you've been briefed on that matter too.
So it's the first part. No, it's not true. It's inaccurate. And, accuracy just doesn't seem to matter anymore, but it is inaccurate. What we are doing, we are looking at all governmental buildings and looking at the deployment of police personnel to make sure taxpayers receive their money's worth on those who are supposed to provide the public safety aspect of going after dangerous people. And we are looking under every rock and questioning, doing analysis to be smarter with taxpayers' dollars. If we determine that we're going to use different methods of securing governmental buildings, including City Hall, we're going to make that determination. But doing an inquiry is not a policy rollout. So it's not true if anyone stated that, because that is not what happened.
Does Tim Pearson still work for Resorts World Casino?
I'm sorry?
Does Tim Pearson still work for Resorts World? I know he's working in the police commissioner's office now.
Yes, I'm not sure of what his employment status is right now, but I know I'm happy that he was on our transition team. He was a brilliant inspector. He put in place several units in the police department, and I'm really happy to have him was part of my transition team. And I look forward to just continue to seeking his guidance and advice. And you said something that I heard in an interview the other day that I just want to touch on because you raised it. It's very fascinating to me when other mayors hired their law partners, they hired their people they knew from school, that they came up through the ranks, how there was nothing to say about it. But I have the audacity to hire blue-collar people, everyday folks who are union members, retired members. It's like, who do you think you are, putting these blue-collar workers, these everyday people who are came here to this country, eked up through the living, went to school at night. Who do you think you are, think you could do that? I'm going to hire the best people for the job that I've known throughout my years in government and their talents. And the reason I can do that is because I'm the mayor. I'm the mayor of the city of New York. And it's going to take a while before people realize that. I am responsible for building a team to end the inequality in our city. When all of these other folks were running this city, 65% of black and brown children were not reaching proficiency. We were watching our communities deal with inequalities. And so if I want to hire a team to end the dysfunctionality of this city, I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to allow people to dismantle my ability to build the right team, no matter who it is at the time. Let me finish my comment. And so I'm hearing all this critique of what I'm doing, but those who have followed me on the campaign trail, you heard three things from me. Stay focused, no distractions, and grind. I am so focused on stopping 19-year-old girls from being shot in Burger King. I'm focused on not having a Rikers Island where 55% of the people have learning disabilities and people are being displaced out of their homes. All that other noise, just listen. It's not going to get in my way. I have a job to do. That's what I was elected to do, and I'm going to carry that out. Now, on the rest of the person that shot the 19-year-old girl that was working in Burger King to try to provide and help her family, the police department was notified when that arrest takes place. I'm not aware if it was or not. I'm sure when they do make the arrest, they would let us know. But I know we're going to get the guy. He should be off the street, and that gun should be off the street.
Hi, good morning, Mayor Adams.
How are you?
Good, thanks. I wanted to ask you, since you brought up personnel, I wanted to know if there was an update. It was reported last week that you were going to hire Carlos Cesar to be the president of the EDC, along with two other appointees. I just wanted to know the update on that, if he's still going to be the president of the EDC, and if you have any an update on timing for when those will be officially announced.
We haven't announced who's going to be the head of EDC. We will be announcing it, and we will roll out who that person is when it's time to roll it out. We have some exciting new rollouts we're going to do. We're looking forward to announcing them to continue to build Team New York. But we have not determined who's going to get that position yet. But when we do, I will announce it.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
First, want to compliment what an incredible setting we're in, and I'm getting inspired to learn how to play the piano. But let me get to my to my question. On the fire in the Bronx at the apartment building.
Yes.
Immediately after the fire, your message was mostly directed to tenants and the importance of closing the door. I didn't hear you say anything about if there's a lesson to be learned for landlords from that fire. It was mostly pointing the fingers at the tenants and telling them to remember to close the door in the event of a fire. Why were you so so quick to focus on tenants, number one, and number two, do you think there is a lesson to be learned for landlords from a tragedy like this?
Well, first, when I arrived at the fire, I spoke with my fire commissioner and was advised by him that the door led to the smoke problem and that we need to get back to a place that we empower tenants with information. And so the blame was not pointed towards the tenants. As a matter of fact, I was very clear. At the press conference, I stated, this is not to blame or traumatize that family. I was very clear with that. That seemed to have been missed in my communication. It's about informing, because any day we could have another fire. And for me to play a role in saying the best thing we can do, as I learned as a child, is close the door. And we need to amplify that message. And that is what the fire commissioner stated. He says, Eric, if there's one message you can get clear today, as he stated and I stated, is to empower tenants of closing the door. And yes, there's a lot that landlords must learn. As we are going to dig into to do those inspections and hotlines, if the door is not closing automatically, this crisis is a teaching moment for all of us, because tenants may not have known that their doors were supposed to close automatically. And we need to give that information. The goal is to empower everyday people with information that they don't feel powerless after a tragedy of this proportion. And so I was clear. That's why I was in the Bronx. The day it happened, I was there the day after. I'm going back up today. I am clear that all of us must be empowered not to have an incident like this occur again. That includes city agencies, landlords. Everyone must play a role in this. This was a horrific experience, and I don't want this to happen again. Just as we learned from Happy Land fires, we're going to learn from this incident.
Can I just follow up?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
On unrelated topic, but
Yes.
A man named Ron Tarosian, he raised a lot of money for you during the campaign. He hosted your victory night party. I'm just wondering, is Ron advising your administration in any official capacity, or are you still socializing with him? Just wondering if you can chime in on what his role is in your life right now.
You know, we had, I don't know if it was how many thousands of donations we received from everyday New Yorkers. You meet so many people on the campaign trail that say hello to you, take a picture with you, and participate. And, you know, people saw my vision, and they enjoyed my vision. I had one of the most diverse support bases than anyone that has run for office. Ron is another person that saw my vision as a businessman and stated, we believe you'll be the best person for the city. That's it. He's not an advisor for my campaign. I have my advisors. Red Horse was my advisors. You're well aware of that, who was my consultant for communications. And now I'm building my team for governing. Campaign and governing is two different places, and he's not on neither one of them.
With him, though,
I socialize with all New Yorkers. I was out last night at 50 Bonds. You know, I socialize with everyone. What is challenging for people is that I am communicative. I socialize with every New Yorker, and I'm willing to sit down with anyone. But you asked me the question of an advisor. He's not an advisor. But I socialize with everyone in the city because I learn from everyone, and I enjoy doing that.
thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Back to the issue of the Bronx fire.
Yes.
How much is the mayor's fund raised? And then how much will each resident get? When will they get it, and how?
Well, first of all, we should really be pleased by the responses that we have received. Right now, the last number I checked, it was in the area of about $700,000, a little over $700,000. Other entities that's not associated with the mayor's fund They have also raised money. We're not in control of that, but the Mayor's Fund would do an analysis of how to best distribute the money based on the we have created a wish list, basically, of the items that are needed. We catalog them, and we're going to make sure we try to assist the family as much as possible. The money goes directly to the family members. And I want to also thank my SPEA, nonprofit in Borough Park. They have been up there every day. Yesterday, they took family members to Target to buy clothing and other items. And so there has been just a outpouring of support from the different New Yorkers and across the entire globe. But the fund would determine how to distribute the money. I have no say-so in that, but it will be going directly to the people who are impacted.
Do you know when that money will start rolling out to them?
We'll find out. We'll find out and get that answer for you.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to ask you about what you just said, that you are the mayor.
Yes.
But there are a set of rules for all public workers.
Yes.
And I wonder if you have given any thought or are concerned that you are sending a message that there is a set of rules for you and another set of rules for public workers who have been fined for doing as little as circulating their family members' resume. So I wonder what your message is to public workers who are subject to these same rules, who may look at this and say, well, I guess there's a different standard for the mayor. And then I have another question.
No, it's one standard, one city, one standard, and let's be clear that COIB will make the determination, and that is what I'm going to follow. I made that over and over again. I'm going to hire the best. I'm going to make sure that they have the most skills that's needed, and they are the best fit for the job. And there's one standard, and every New Yorker out there must know we started up hiring up of some of the best people around ethics and rules. You know, Brendan came from the Southern District of the U.S. Attorney's Office. That's my chief counsel. And his entire team, they have been amazing about making sure the proper compliance. So to all New Yorkers, Eric Adams is going to say there's one set of rules. That's all we're going to do. And the person or the group that determines if the rules are correctly carried out is COIB. We're so lucky to have an entity in New York City that does an analysis of the behavior of those who are elected or those who are civil service or public employees and determine if something is done correctly. And so we're going to let them do their job, and I'm happy to say that. And I'm also happy, you know, listen, I am blessed to have a brother who's qualified, who's smart, who has an excellent credentials, who has the ability to protect his brother. And I'm just, you know, I'm just blessed to be able to have that. And, you know, COIB will determine the rest.
I just ask you about the Correction Officers Union and the set of decisions that have been made in the last couple of days. Some lawmakers and some advocates are suggesting that you've been doing a lot that the union has been asking for over the last couple of years, and that you're trying to placate the union. A union that's demonstrated that, you know, they're willing to sometimes not show up to work. A lot of the problems with staffing have been documented throughout the last couple of months. What do you say to that concern that what you've been doing in the last couple of weeks regarding staffing at the department is in order to placate the union and give them what they want?
That's a powerful term, and you know, I think that to state that I'm placating, those who know me know I do not placate. I respect union workers, and I don't know. I think it was the New York Times that wrote the story yesterday, showing the female correction officer inside a facility where she was alone, and violent gang members started to attack another inmate, and she was by herself. And for 2 minutes, she had to wait for help to come. I know what happens on Rikers Island. I know what happens to inmates who are just trying to serve their time. What happened to correction officers, I'm aware of that. And I have made it clear, I'm going to hire the best person for the job, and I did, Commissioner Molina. And he's going to staff up so we can turn around Rikers Island in a very humane way. And I have the utmost trust in his ability to do so, based on my years of experience of fighting for what was happening in Rikers. I was fighting for reform on Rikers as a sergeant in the police department. That's how long I've been fighting for reform. So some people just discovered the reforms that are needed on Rikers. This has been my life work. So I'm not going to allow inmates to be abused, and I'm not going to allow correction officers to be abused. And those who are abusive as inmates or abusive as correction officers, we're going to deal with that. So my partnership is not with the union. My partnership is with the people of the city of New York, even if they are incarcerated. And I'm going to continue to have that partnership. People must be safe, even if they committed a crime.
I think we have time for two more. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you concerned about Phil Banks' involvement in the firing of Chief Resnick and what appears to be retaliation?
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, Phil Banks, his involvement in the firing of Chief Resnick and what appears to be retaliation.
Of Phil Banks, the Deputy Mayor Banks did not, at the time of his conversation with Chief Resnick, he didn't have the authority to fire him. The police commissioner makes a determination of firing. And, you know, many of these officers, they're long-term relationships, and they have informal conversations. And I'm not privy to the conversation they had informally, but he did not have the authority at the time that Chief Resnick was informed. So I have no opinion about that because he didn't have the authority to do so, and I don't believe he did. So I think the commissioner made the determination. Yes, sir.
Do you have any update on any kind of negotiations with the teachers about virtual learning?
Around?
About virtual learning?
And I want to be clear on that because I don't know if there was a misinterpretation of what I said yesterday. I'm clear. Schools are not closing. Let's be very clear on that. We are not closing our schools. What we are doing, we had great conversation, as the senator stated. We had great conversation with our senators and others. We are now speaking with the UFT on different methods on how we can make sure our children are educated in a very safe environment. But we are not closing our schools. I've been clear on that. I don't know how many times I can say that. I'm going to say it over and over again. And I'm excited about my conversations with my lawmakers, my conversation with the UFT. And I'm just amazed that no one is commending us on what we have accomplished. This is not Chicago. We are working with the UFT. It is as though people are disappointed that I'm able to sit down and have conversations with each other. I said I was going to do this as mayor. We are having great conversations, and we are working together to get our children educated in a safe way. You know, we delivered 3.8 million tests to our schools. The senator mentioned, a young person was able to take a test, and not only that, here's a number that many people don't know. Out of those tests that we delivered, 22,000 came back positive. 22,000. We were able to isolate and help those family members with 22,000. And the real analysis that shows we were on the right path. Children who were home had a 15% increase or possibility of being exposed. Check out what the number was if they were in school. 1%. 1%. I've said this over and over again. The safest place for our babies is a school building. And the numbers are bearing this out. And so we're going to continue to stay on that course. We're going to get through this. But when we started this out, when I took office January 1st, I was clear on my message. I'm not closing my schools. I'm not closing them because we get 3 to 6 inches of snow. I'm not closing them because of other issues. I'm going to keep my children safe. And we're going to find out a way to do that and ensure our children are educated. Thank you.
You are doing a great job, Mayor Adams. Thank you.